Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the Rh negative network, what we believe, what our purpose is, and at the end, a little about Rh negative in general. The Rh negative network began almost 2 years ago as a result of a need that arose within me to find answers. This was at a time when I didn't have enough information to even be sure which questions I should ask, and it was frustrating, but it doesn't have to be that way. The purpose of the Rh negative network is to provide a place to seek out credible answers to our many questions, to share information and experience, to examine evidence theories, and separate what is fact from what is fiction, ego, and agenda regarding our unique bloodline. Because Rh negs are such a very small and unique part of the population, we're about 15% in the United States and a few other countries, and roughly 10% worldwide. But because we're such a very small and unique part of the population, we cannot reasonably expect others to provide us with answers, let alone credible answers. If we are ever to have a reasonable understanding of our peculiarities, it is the Rh negative network's position that we have to be willing to both seek out answers for ourselves and accept what is fact over what is fantasy or agenda. If we are willing to extend our thought patterns past what has literally and figuratively been beaten into society as the truth, well, we may arrive at answers. If we're unable to do that, we will accept no answer, nor will any answer provided satisfy, because we will be too entrenched in our conditioning, and what the dominant society demands is the truth. So, what does the Rh negative network believe? If I discussed it all right now, this would be one long video. But in short, the Rh negative network believes that all Rh negs originate from a single bloodline. But whose bloodline, and where's the proof? And how do we explain those persons whose parents, one or both of which are rhesus positive, if in fact we are all of the same bloodline? Stay with me. I'll address the hows and whys of this conclusion in a future video. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to the network, which I feel I've done. So let's move on to what is an Rh factor. An Rh factor, also called a rhesus factor, because it was first discovered in the blood of the rhesus monkey. That's a small monkey from India that tragically is often used by humans for experimental purposes. But the Rh factor is an antigen, a substance which simulates the production of antibodies to fight foreign invaders such as viruses, bacteria, and incompatibly transplanted organs. A given individual either has the antigen already in their body, in which case they're Rh positive, or they don't, and they're Rh negative. Why is this important? It's very important. Prior to the 20th century, blood and its function for the most part were poorly understood. In trying to solve the problem of serious blood loss from injuries, doctors tried to transfuse the blood of another person or animal into the injured patient. Sometimes it worked and the patient recovered, but in most cases it actually caused harm and death. As a result, by the beginning of the 20th century, most European nations outlawed blood transfusions. Around 1900, an Australian-American physician, Karl Landsteiner, developed an explanation for the phenomena of blood rejection. Landsteiner found that the human blood serum, the liquid portion of the blood surrounding the cells, could be divided into 4 categories depending upon its ability to cause clotting in red blood cells. He gave these groups the names we're all so familiar with today, that being A, B, AB, and O. In 1940, he discovered another factor, and this is the one that we're interested in, the Rh factor. This discovery resulted from Landsteiner's study with the rhesus monkey. Landsteiner and his colleague found that when blood from the monkey was injected into rabbits and guinea pigs, it clotted. This was because of the presence of another antigen that researchers had not classified before. Landsteiner called the antigen the Rh factor, or rhesus factor. Research also showed that this factor occurs among some, but not all, humans, and that it is also inherited. In all fairness, it's worth mentioning that there are claims which are now screaming that the rhesus factor was incorrectly named. We are now told that although Landsteiner won the Nobel Prize for his work in this area, and both named and discovered the existence of the ABO blood groups, the cell surface substance produced by genes that endows individuals with their individual blood types. And although clinically his work resulted in safer blood transfusions in humans, he made one tiny error. That he overlooked that there was a demonstrated difference between rabbit and human anti-RH, that red cells from newborn babies, whether Rh positive or Rh negative as defined by human anti-Rh, were both positive with the rabbit anti-Rh. We are told that in 1963, another scientist proved that human and rabbit anti-Rh did not react with the antigen, but that the term Rh was kept as a title for the human antibody because it was a commonly used term. Since very few of us have access to newborn Rh negative and Rh positive blood as well as rabbit blood, I guess we'll have to take science's word for this for now. But even if this is 100% correct, this changes nothing as far as Rh-neg is concerned. The Sumerian record gives us an account by where all were originally created using some portion of primate DNA. So this one point should have never been a focal point for Rh-negs. In the next video, I'll address what our focal point should be, and some of the hows and possible whys of why we're all one bloodline. Until then, all the best.